Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, thank you for being here today. I want to talk to you about something that is often overlooked in the rush of life. It's something that touches each of us, whether we're young or old, rich or poor, employed or unemployed. The title of this message is simple yet profound. God didn't create you just to work a job. Let that sink in for a moment. God, the creator of the universe, the one who formed the stars and painted the skies, the one who molded humanity from dust and breathed his very spirit into us. He didn't put you on this earth just so you could clock in and clock out. He didn't design you with such divine precision and love just so you could spend the best years of your life behind a desk, trapped in a routine that drains you rather than fulfills you. Now, don't get me wrong. Work is important. The Bible tells us that work is good. It says that a laborer is worthy of their wages, and that if a person does not work, neither should they eat. Work gives us purpose. It brings structure to our lives. It can be an expression of our gifts, but work is not the sum total of why you were created. Your identity is not found in your job title, your salary, or your productivity. You are not what you do. You are who God says you are. We live in a world that glorifies hustle. We're told that if we're not grinding every day, we're falling behind. We're bombarded with messages that tell us our worth is measured by how busy we are, how many hours we work, how much we produce. But God's economy is not like man's economy. In God's kingdom, rest is holy. Time with family is sacred. Silence and reflection are powerful. God is not impressed by our overwork. In fact, when we chase after jobs and money and status to the neglect of our souls, we're running in the opposite direction of the life He has for us. Think about the creation story. God created Adam and Eve and placed them in a garden. He gave them responsibilities, yes, but He didn't make them employees. He made them stewards. He invited them into relationship, into communion with Him. Their value wasn't found in how many fruits they picked or how well they managed the animals. Their value was in the fact that they were His made in His image, designed for fellowship, for love, for creativity, for wonder. So what does that mean for you? It means your job is just a small piece of the puzzle. You have a calling that is far bigger than your career. You have a purpose that stretches beyond the walls of your workplace. You have dreams that God Himself placed in your heart. And if you're not careful, you can spend your whole life working for a paycheck and still be bankrupt in your soul. Some of you feel stuck. You're going to a job every day that you hate. You're doing work that feels meaningless, repetitive, maybe even dehumanizing. And you wonder, is this all there is? I want to tell you today that it's not. Your discontent is not a sign of ingratitude. It may be the whisper of God calling you to something deeper. God may be stirring a vision in your heart, calling you to step out of the routine and into your destiny. Others of you are working jobs that you love, but even that can become a trap if you're not careful. Because if your job becomes your identity, then when the job ends, whether through retirement, layoffs, or change, you'll feel lost. We see this all the time. People who work 30 or 40 years and then retire, and suddenly they don't know who they are anymore because their whole life was built around what they did instead of who they were becoming. God created you for more than just labor. He created you to love and be loved, to build relationships, to explore His creation, to serve others not because you're paid to, but because you're compelled by compassion. He created you to laugh, to cry, to dance, to rest. He created you to worship, to create, to reflect His glory in a way that only you can. No one else can live your life. No one else can fulfill your calling. You are a masterpiece with a divine imprint on your soul. Some of us have let the world's definition of success blind us to the truth. We think that if we don't have a high-paying job, if we're not constantly busy, if we're not climbing the ladder, then we're failing. But God sees success differently. He looks at the heart. He measures faithfulness, not fame. He values kindness over ambition, integrity over achievement, obedience over opportunity. You don't have to be in ministry to live a life of purpose. You can be a stay-at-home parent, an artist, a teacher, a mechanic, a student, a retiree, and still be fulfilling your God-given purpose because purpose is not confined to a job description. It's written into the fabric of your being. You are made to know God and make Him known. You are made to carry His love into every room you walk into, whether it's a boardroom or a bedroom, a classroom or a coffee shop. Some of you might be thinking, but I have bills to pay, I have responsibilities, I can't just quit my job and chase dreams. And I get that. I'm not saying you have to leave your job to live your purpose. What I am saying is, don't let your job be the ceiling of your life. Let it be a platform, a provision, a means, not the end. Start asking God how He wants to use you where you are, and also where He wants to take you next. Keep your heart open, stay curious, be willing to dream again. God may not call everyone to start a business, write a book, or travel the world, but He calls all of us to live intentionally, to live with our eyes open, our hearts awake, our spirits engaged. The tragedy is not in working a job. The tragedy is in becoming numb, losing our sense of wonder, forgetting who we are. You weren't created to live on autopilot. You weren't created to survive the week just so you can enjoy the weekend. You weren't created to count down the days until retirement. You were created to live a full life, abundant life. Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. That kind of life doesn't begin when you quit your job or hit some financial milestone. It begins when you wake up to the truth that you are more than your role, more than your title, more than your resume. God has placed eternity in your heart. That means there will always be a part of you that hungers for something more, and no job, no salary, no promotion will ever satisfy that hunger. Only God can. Only a life lived in step with His Spirit can bring the kind of joy and peace that doesn't fade with time. So what do we do with all of this? How do we live out this truth that we weren't created just to work a job? First, we need to reclaim our time. We need to make room in our lives for the things that matter. Time for family, time for God, time for rest, time for service. That may mean saying no to some things, even good things, so we can say yes to the best things. If we don't take control of our schedule, the world will gladly do it for us. But if we truly believe we are more than workers, then we must live like it. Second, we need to reconnect with our passions. What makes your heart beat faster? What do you love to do, even if no one pays you to do it? What did you dream about before the world told you to be practical? Those passions are not accidents. They're clues. They point you toward the unique contribution you were made to give. Don't bury them. Don't ignore them. Ask God to show you how to integrate them into your life, even in small ways.